and then was transferred over. And through our research, we were able to find a phone number for the resident there. This is the middle of the night, so we had to call him a couple times. Oh, hey, is there a shooting that's, no, none of that took place. Okay, well, can you come out with your hands up? We have about 25 police officers outside. And they come out and we make sure that everything's okay. Once again, we still have to have them come outside and make sure that this isn't a legitimate thing and then apologize. But what happens is these kids get online, they play games, and part of, I don't know what you call it, like the banter back and forth is you get swatted. Pretty dumb, but that's what they do.
Do you go in the house and check, or do you just make...
Typically, yes, if they allow us. Now, once we've established that it's likely a fake call, our probable cause or ability, kind of our emergency exceptions start to decrease. But potentially, if we think it's a legitimate thing, absolutely. This is another one on Wickfield Court that I went to. Neighbor heard an argument. There were 3 shots fired. They called the front desk and it was transferred to dispatch. Same type of thing. We set up a perimeter and then worked through it. What do you think we're doing as we do this? When stuff like this kicks off, the black ones are the sheriff's department, the blue with the bubbles, the state police, and then Pittsfield sometimes comes over too. But we're thinking through the situation. So that's kind of the takeaway for today is be a detective, think through this stuff, or at least talk to somebody who you know and trust to see if whatever's happening you think is legitimate. Now we already talked about this a little bit, but if you get a pop-up and it says, your account has suspicious transactions, click here immediately to log in and prevent additional transactions. What are the red flags here? Immediately?
Click here.
Click here?
Chat box.
Chat box? Yeah. Not necessarily fraudulent, but that's the way you should think, is always be a detective and try to figure out for yourself if this is legitimate or not. What's always the fail-safe thing you can do?
Call the bank.
Using what number?
The bank's number.
And how do you know it's the bank's number?
Because you went out and searched for it on a clear browser.
Yeah, yourself. You find it yourself. Exactly. Or on a bank statement that maybe you have in the house.
What would they really do if you had a transaction problem?
Sometimes they
How
will
would
text
they
you.
do it? They would do this?
Yeah.
Sometimes. Usually it'll be a text message that you'll get.
It's like we have credit card questions, so,
It'll never be a click. It'll always be, was this you? Yes or no.
right.
And
And it
that's it.
wouldn't say immediately, like,
Never a click.
yeah.
Just yes or no.
Yeah. I actually got one like a week ago, and I wasn't even sure if it was the bank. Because now you get so many different things, it's like, well, is this actually the bank or not? But as he pointed out, usually be a yes or a no. And I called I actually didn't even answer because there was just something that didn't feel right about the text. So I did exactly what you guys said, went to my bank's website, found their number, because I didn't have my card on me at the time to look on the back of the card. That would be the best number to pull. And I have my bank card and my credit card through them, so I had to call both. And they said, no, it wasn't us. We can see if we've contacted you, and we have not.
At some banks, you can set up text messaging that will notify you if a transaction or a deposit takes place over a certain dollar amount. And so again, it's not clickable or anything like that, it's just simply a notification that something came in or something went out.
So he said with some banks you can get a notification if it's over a certain amount, say $1,000, you want to know about it. It'll at least let you know your fail-safe is go to the bank, go to the brick and mortar. Just reminding you, we're trying to slow things down here, remove that emotion so that we can think critically. You want to be a detective, hover over those links. Call your son, your daughter, your relative. If somebody is pretending to be them, you have their actual number, call them and see. Talk to your bank teller, store rep. I let all my calls, if I don't know the number, I let them go to voicemail. So I want to listen to it first, and then if this is your bank calling, well, I'm going to go get my actual bank number and call.
So one of the things instance that's happened here is the pastors have been hijacked.
Mhm.
And one time I got a message from Pastor Jim and said, can you help me? And I said, what do you need? So I engaged because I didn't read carefully the email address. And so I said, what do you need? Oh, I need a bunch of gift cards from blah, blah, blah. And I said, why do you need them? Now, I knew that he was out of town, and I knew where he was, but I couldn't tell from the email. So the person said they texted, they needed, I don't know how many hundreds of dollars of gift cards. I said, we're going to give them to someone in the hospital. And I said, oh, how convenient, because I work there. Just tell me who you need the gift cards for, and I'll go deliver them. Dead silence.
Yeah,
So then I
smart.
texted Pastor Jim and I said, this is not you, right? He said, "No, it's not me. And you're not the first person to tell me that they got the email.
I bought the gift cards. They didn't get them,
Yeah.
because I insisted on delivering them to Jim, but that's when I knew they were fake.
Yeah.
Because they said, no, just give me the numbers, scratch it.
It's tricky.
It's
Yeah.
And that's when I thought, I'm gonna see you in 10 minutes, why would I scratch it?
Yeah. Do they sound familiar to the guys who work the road?
Yeah, the other, stuff like that, where they will, I used to work at police department before, and I kind of had a role like Sergeant Wolford does, where I was doing a lot of PR kind of stuff, so my face was out there a lot, my name was out there a lot, and someone actually made a fake Facebook account with my information, my name, my picture and stuff, and they were actually reaching out to people in the community and sending messages like, hey, you know, kind of, I had some, you know, family illness, here's a link to a, you know, fundraiser I have going, kind of that sort of stuff. So, I mean, the scammers, I mean, they really have no shame. They'll go any length and impersonate wherever they need to. So kind of like you were talking about, yeah, you know, clergy here being like their identities kind of used. They'll even do it for police officers. I know here in Ann Arbor they use detectives' names, actual detectives we have, and they'll call people, hey, this is detective so-and-so from the Ann Arbor Police Department. So, you know, it's you really need to do your research.
Maybe we should have done this before church so you could get uplifted a little bit. Now, sometimes this comes up too, depending on the crowd we talk to, but they'll become friends with somebody online and suddenly they're asking for an unclothed photograph. They start exchanging those back and forth. People come to our desk probably, once every other week for this. They exchange the photograph of them nude, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, here's some screenshots of all of your friends on Facebook. We've already got them loaded up. We're going to send the image to them. We're going to do this. We're going to do that unless you pay this ransom money. And they send, you know, a couple $100, and they come back and now send us $1,000, and they start getting more demanding and more cruel. So our recommendation is, don't send any money. Okay? I know it's embarrassing. Come talk to us. We won't judge you.
Don't send me pictures.
That too.
There's been news about children, young people killing themselves over this.
There has, right here in Michigan.
It happened to our grandson, they attempted. Unfortunately, he came to his mother and said, this is what's going on, and she had heard about it, so
Yeah.
they're able to stop it, but they target, especially, you know, vulnerable kids who are 14, 15 years old, and there's usually some cute girl in the picture that's targeting the boys. I mean, it's real.
Yeah,
Kids have died from it.
yeah, it is.
I don't think it's too real for us. The ones are new.
Well, that's why we also recommend with kids, like, have these conversations with them because they're going to be too embarrassed to talk to anyone about this. Like you mentioned, having to go talk to your parents about this. But talking to them beforehand, that way they know, you know, and facilitating those conversations, building that relationship to where at least they'll reach out. You know, and if they're aware, okay, kids have even killed themselves over this. If they're aware of that, then they're going to know, they're gonna start formulating, like, to talk to you, or at least talk to somebody about it. You know, and if this has happened to you, you know, it's kind of like life's like a book, it's a novel, right? There's ups, there's downs, there's embarrassments, there's good times, bad times, like, whatever, it's life. Like, talk to somebody, they'll understand. They've been through stuff themselves. Like I said, come talk to us, at least we're third party. Your computer, if you start getting pop-ups like this, scam, right? But people click them, maybe they're, once again, going back to that embarrassment thing, maybe they're on a website they shouldn't be. This pops up. Best thing is just shut the computer off. You know, if you're really concerned, you can take it into a computer place that works on them, get it checked. Sometimes just rebooting it, it's just literally a browser that's saying this stuff, trying to make you think like, warning, your computer's been infected, the world's gonna end. You know, you got to do something now by paying $300 to get it removed. Don't do it. Now, some of this is starting to pop up with AI and AI voice cloning. You know, saying, "Hey, this is your son calling. This is your daughter calling." If we have time, I think there's a video in here that we can quickly watch. But call them yourself. Don't just send the money, because chances are
They
it's
both were
fraud.
on the phone.
Yeah, you might have to just hang up, which is hard to do because you're thinking, what if my kid actually is? But what's the probability? Well, probably less than 1% that it's real versus you're likely being scammed. You know, we talk about relationships online. If you're lonely, you know, there are groups and clubs, churches where you can meet people.
This message is intended for you. My name is Alex Smith, and I'm calling you from IRS, Internal Revenue Service. And the reason of my call is to let you know regarding the lawsuit that has been filed against you.
Everybody's gotten these, right? Yeah. Hang up on those. Don't answer those calls. Once again, it's an unknown number. Just let it go to voicemail. They'll sound like that too and say, "I'm Sergeant Mark Pulford with the Ann Arbor Police Department. Send money or we're going to arrest you." We're not going to call you and demand money. We're just going to come arrest you. This is something I'm dealing with right now. This is an actual text message that I got just after Thanksgiving. It said, "Hi Mark, this is Barry from Real Estate One. I received emails from you with a Yahoo email address regarding selling your home. I wanted to confirm your identity or if this is a potential identity theft.
Yeah.
What do you do?"
You know, I've got a lot of those.
Have you? So I did kind of what we talked about today. I went to Real Estate One. I found the realtor. The number matched. He actually has his cell on the thing. Call him up from the website number. And he's like, "Yeah, you know, I'm getting these emails. And it appears, you know, there's a couple red flags. I just wanted to check in. Are you trying to sell your home?" "No, I'm not." It's like, okay. Didn't think too much of it until 2 days later. I get another phone call from a realtor. So I look him up, call him back. He's like, "Yeah, basically I've been having this email conversation the past few days. Got an email from Mark Pulford something or another at yahoo.com that you want to sell your house." And he actually forwarded me this email thread, and they went back and forth. And the guy wanted, the suspect was asking for, I think it was like a CME agreement on DocuSign to sign, and he sent my address, my parcel number, my name to the realtor. The realtor responded back and said, "Yeah, this is who I show for the house." The guy responded back, said, "Okay, I just need a CME agreement, I'll sign on DocuSign, let's get things moving." The realtor said, "With homes, we like to come out and see them and take a few photographs. Is there a good date and time next week that I can come by?" He said, "Sure, come by anytime." Unfortunately, then the realtor was able to find my number and called me. Otherwise, I mean, this is literally like a week old. It's just after Thanksgiving. So just told my wife, like, be aware somebody might be showing up on our doorstep, a realtor, because somebody's trying to sell our house. So as part of that, I called the county, the assessor's office. I called my mortgage provider. There's nothing really any of them said they could do other than just keep checking your deed and make sure that's not transferred, but that kind of stuff does happen. Yeah, they can try to steal your house from right underneath you.
Could they? How could they?
I mean, I certainly think you could probably end up in court, once again, having to defend it. But yeah, who knows? Who knows what
I
they're
mean,
up to.
if you're living in your house, what would they try to do?
According to this Cash App card app,
Would they just try to come and move in? I mean, you're actually
Well, they probably try to, there's some financial gain because they're not local. So there'd be some kind of financial gain that they're trying to get out of it.
Pal, I'm Nurse Mallory Jones, and I'm about to buy this sweet dirt bike.
Avoid fraudulent charges with transactional alerts on the Cash App card. Because if it's weird for real, it's weird for real.
That's not part of it, that's just the computer listening to us.
We're turning out a new scam using artificial intelligence to clone voices. One Arizona mother shared her story of a kidnapping hoax. It sounded all too real. Ariel Reshef here with the details. Good morning, Ariel.
Good morning to you, George. We've reported on these kidnapping scams where a perpetrator falsely claims they're holding a loved one hostage and demands ransom. But this case is the latest eerie example of how criminals can use technology to manipulate your own voice or someone you love's to prey on your worst fears. This morning, an urgent warning from an Arizona mom who says she was the victim of a terrifying voice cloning hoax.
I just walked inside and started screaming for help.
Jennifer DiStefano says when she recently received a call from an unknown number, she almost didn't answer. But her 15-year-old daughter, Brianna, was on a skiing trip and she worried it could be an emergency. So she picked up.
And it's my daughter's voice crying and sobbing. I'm saying, Mom, and I'm like, okay, what happened? She's like, Mom, these bad men have me, help me, help me.
DiStefano says a man demanded ransom in exchange for Brianna. He didn't want a wire transfer, but instead told her he'd pick her up.
I started to wonder, like, if these people were, like, asking to track my mom and, like, pick her up, like, they could have obviously been, like, putting some information together to try and track me or some of my siblings to actually make this a reality. So it definitely scared me.
Within minutes, they confirmed her daughter was safe. She says it was all a scheme using artificial intelligence to replicate her daughter's voice.
Most people in the modern age have some form of an online identity and have probably spoken in some way, in some aspect that's been recorded, especially if you're under the age of 25. So this becomes very, very challenging as we move into a future where we do have these AI generators or synthetic audio when it comes to verification and validation.
Experts caution anyone with the right software can clone voices in just a matter of seconds.
There's a lot of positive and exciting aspects about these technologies, but then of course they also come with a lot of risks and harms.
It's a good thing to remember, and experts say scammers who use voice cloning technology often find that audio on social media. So how do you protect yourself? Maybe keep your profile private on that setting that only allows you to approve who is accessing it. And also, if you're getting a call from an unfamiliar area code or an international number, that can be an immediate red flag. Guys.
All right, graded.
Ruthless. So slowing things down, removing that emotion, become a detective, ask us, call us. Once again, look up our number on our official website. So what should you do if you're a victim? Then we have time for a couple questions. Obviously, if your credit card's compromised, contact your credit card company. Use the number on the back of the card or an official number to shut off the card. Place a fraud alert. You can get your credit reports to see if there's anything fraudulent going on. Back when I was a victim, I also got the lock on your credit. And that way, I think I applied for a car, and it sent me a text message or an alert on the app, and it said, "Hey, are you applying for credit?" I clicked yes, and then it allowed it to go through. But obviously, if there's something fraudulent, I'd click no, and it'd keep it locked. That's an idea, but you're going to have to pay for it. And then report it to the Federal Trade Commission and your local police department. We don't investigate these. We do create the report. Generally speaking, you're going to get the money back if somebody used your credit card number. So it's more on the credit card company. Will do their own investigation. They're so convoluted, we take probably 10 of these a day. There's no way we'd have enough time to look into these, and a lot of it leads overseas. Here's the identitytheft.gov is a good resource. It gives you all kinds of things to do. So if you do become a victim, once again, go into official government website, get information on what to do. I found this optoutprescreen.com that'll stop some of those credit offers that come to your house. Obviously, somebody could grab those out of your mailbox and try to apply for stuff. This is where you can get your annual creditreport.com. Gives you a free credit report every year. And as I always caution, look for those fake links when you're clicking on stuff. and then ftc.gov will give you the resources as well. This is our unit. You can always reach out to, there's a civilian in our unit, Susan Casey, that's her email address. She can set up presentations and stuff if you need us for anything, such as active assailant or security assessments. And then all of our crew there. Once again, my name is Sergeant Mark Fulford. So we have a couple minutes for questions, I think, before the next service.
I have identity theft insurance, at least I think I do, I've never tried it. Is it worthwhile?
I don't have really any data on it. I think is it good to have auto insurance? Well, it's expensive, but when you do get in a crash, it's nice to have it. So so I think it's just kind of personal preference. Like I have longevity, I think it is like the long-term disability insurance at work. Sometimes I feel like canceling it because it's like, do I really need it? But I think,
You don't need it until you need it.
yeah. But I don't recommend like run out and buy stuff like that and get all scared. A lot of it's just critically think through some of this stuff. But I'll look into something. I'll talk to some of our fraud detectives and see that way I can make that recommendation in the future. Because sometimes it's nice to, like if you didn't have to deal with everything that comes along with identity theft, I mean, it could take years to crawl out of some of this stuff. It would be nice. Thank you for that. Well, yeah.
So I had been notified that on the dark web, which I'm not quite sure what that is, the different parts of my address is out there, and the last 4 digits of my social security. So what can you do once it's out there?
Nothing.
Okay, yeah, and it's never all of anything.
Yeah,
So-
mine's out there too. Everybody in here is probably out there.
Yeah.
So that's the other part is they hack into the companies that have all your information and steal it there too.
They hack
So
into the VA, so,
Yeah.
I work at the VA sometimes.
yeah.
To add to that, I don't know if you discussed it, one of the ones I've seen going around, because I've gotten the same email multiple times, just talk about the one where it has like a picture of your house and stuff like that.
No.
So I've gotten it where it'll actually be an email, it'll have it'll be from some random email address, and it'll have my name and address in it. And it's actually my old address because I moved, and whatever information on me out there, they didn't update my address yet, but it'll be, it'll have my full name, my phone number, and I actually have a picture of your house too, because if you go onto, Google or Apple Maps, you can do a street view, and you can, any address, you can look at a picture, from the street. And they put that together, and they kind of sent like a threatening like letter attached, like, we hacked your computers, and have access to your webcams. We have sensitive videos and pictures of you that we got through your webcam. We know who you are. We know where you live. We know your phone number. If you don't send us X amount of money, we're going to send this to everyone you know. So it kind of just goes to what we were just talking about. All that information's out there.
Yeah.
So a lot of these scammers, they're just using information that's just readily available out there. You can go on to, it's called like BSA online. And a lot of times you can go on there to make like tax payments, like property taxes, water bills and stuff. You can go up there, pretty much any municipality in Michigan, see who owns a house. And so all this stuff is public record and out there, so it's very easy for these people to come up with threats that seem legitimate because they're able to get all our information. So that's just wanted to give you guys a heads up. That's one that's going around. I've gotten it like 2 or 3 separate times.
Yeah, I heard of that. We'll do that and then get you in back there.
As what often happens, I just got a text message from Country Plus 63. This literally happened 5 minutes ago, which I always think my phone is listening to me, and I know that sounds paranoid, but it
No, they
really
do.
think it is. And it says, we regret to inform you, something about package damaged in transit.
Click on it.
Yeah, be your test case.
No fear.
Yeah, just delete them.
It's so weird though, like why right now?
Yeah.
This time of year. Who doesn't have a package? Right. So you're getting? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, What are your thoughts on two-factor authentication? And, you know, is that a good level of
Yeah, it's great.
comfort, or
Yep.
is are there facets of it that give customers a false sense of security?
I mean, it's a pain in the butt. It is certainly more secure. And, I mean, I can only imagine the amount of effort these big corporations are putting in to try to solve some of this, because a lot of times it's their money that's, you know, they have to reimburse you, and I mean, it's billions and billions of dollars. So
Again, just a real quick thing, you know, it might have been, 10 or 15 years ago, when I worked at the University of Michigan, and their Fidelity retirement accounts lacked two-factor authentication. And I escalated that conversation within the university, and literally the day I had the conversation with that individual at the U of M, there was another university person testifying before Congress about hacks at their institution into retirement accounts. And essentially, I asked that person, how would you feel to be the next person in line to testify before Congress that you didn't protect the University of Michigan retiree program?
yeah,
Within 2 weeks, they actually had two-factor authentication active
I believe it.
at
Yeah.
Michigan.
We have Duo right here in Ann Arbor, and that's
Yeah.
who we use with the city, and it works well. I mean, it's good software, and even with AI, and there's cases where people are having presentations and stuff created for their meetings that they're running late for. You just type in your prompts, and AI will create the presentation for you. And they put in sensitive information, and now that's dumped into the AI database, and it's out there. So that's something to think about too. Anything you put out there is out there that'll be used in the future once it's in the AI database. And as far as I know, there's really no way to retract that. So, there's people that have gotten in trouble for leaking sensitive information, trying to expedite things and make it easy on them with AI.
Do they ever catch any of these people that are doing this?
Not a ton. There are some that they catch, and there's some documentaries out there that got Netflix that I've watched, and you watch it all, and it's incredible what these people do and how they harm people, and then you'll see, like, you really don't end up with that much prison time. It's surprising sometimes. But yeah, sometimes it's tough. We've had people where we catch them in hotel rooms with all the stuff to steal, like the credit card manipulation stuff. I think we got to wrap up here, but we got one more
I just
question.
wanted to say on the scam where they're saying, change your password now, it expires in 1 day. Ignore it. How many times does your password expire? Then you go on the site and you change it then. You don't have to do it now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, and the biggest thing, if nothing else, don't give your personal information out. Don't go get green dot cards, don't Western Union, talk to a family member, talk to a relative. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's probably a scam.
yeah.